Hello, warriors. This is Suzanne with Warrior of Light Coaching. Today is part 3 in my series of Mindfulness 101. I'm be talking about self-compassion and some of the exercises you can do to evoke self-compassion. Now, what is self-compassion? Self-compassion is not to be confused with self-esteem. Those are two totally different things. Self-compassion is applying compassion towards yourself. We always have an easier time applying compassion to others, but what about ourselves? You know, that inner critic that always tells us we're not doing things good enough, or we're looking in the mirror and we don't like what we're seeing, and so we're talking down to ourselves. Self-compassion is a way to express all the things you appreciate about yourself and highlight those and connect with yourself. Be compassionate towards yourself. This really came to mind today just because of something I saw my daughter do. She couldn't figure out, she loves Minecraft, and she couldn't figure out right away how to build something. And so she was talking down to herself so much where I was like, oh my gosh. This kid is Minecraft crazy and wicked smart. Why can't she see what I'm seeing? And then self-compassion came to mind, and so I had to tell her what I saw and help her kind of adjust that talk, just to say something along the line, well, maybe I don't know how to build this right now, but I know I have built bigger things before. I got this. I understand what this is all about. So self-compassion really highlights that you must know, your own suffering, your own challenges, and find a way to express to yourself that you're aware of them and that you have the tools to adjust them. There are 3 pillars when it comes to self-compassion. One is self-kindness versus self-judgment. So coming back to the example of my daughter, she was judging herself for being not smart enough to figure this out, whereas she could have used self-kindness to say, okay, I have figured out other things before. It took me a little bit, but I know I can do this because, I just won the Minecraft building competition at the Boys and Girls Club. And so I know I can figure this out. I just need time to think about it. It's the positive talk versus the negative self-talk we all tend to do depending on the times. I'm guilty of that as much as anyone else. The other one, the second pillar of self-compassion is your common humanity versus isolation. Your common humanity. We're all humans. We all have our faults. We all have our strengths. But at the end of the day, no matter what country or from what color we have, we're all human. At the core of it all, we're all the same. And so admitting to your own humanity and not being something perfectly chiseled by Michelangelo, it brings you closer to your self-compassion because you admit, hey, I make mistakes, I might fail, but this is all part of being human and having the ability to grow and to move forward and even love myself. The other one is the third and last pillar of self-compassion is mindfulness versus over-identification. Over-identification kind of goes way beyond the self-esteem realm, where you're just out there and all good and just always have to apply yourself to every single situation, whereas mindfulness kind of makes you take a step back and apply yourself compassionately with whatever is going on instead of trying to interject yourself and your emotions and your feelings and your education into every situation. Mindfulness versus self over-identification kind of helps you take that step back and be part of the community, while also being mindful of your own abilities and bringing those in good ways that add to your overall community. One of the biggest things that I have learned throughout my journey with mindfulness, and something at first I thought was a little silly, but has made such a difference, and it's just simple words if you break it down like that, is what's called a loving kindness meditation. And again, that goes back to the overwhelming negative self-talk we often do, and kind of just bringing that all back in and applying compassion and kindness and lovingness to yourself. Not only will change the way you talk to yourself, but also your mood, your outlook, and your emotions. It will make a change, and it's a shift you can feel internally, which also helps you let go of whatever is that one thing that keeps dragging you down and keeps haunting you and kind of coming back to you. So the first step of loving kindness is applying it to yourself. And I'm going to read this to you, and it's something you sit very comfortably, close your eyes, tune out the rest of the world, and especially in those moments where you're so hypercritical of yourself. Take a deep breath, take a step back, and do a loving kindness meditation. And it goes something like this. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be saved from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at ease and happy. And you kind of just repeat that over and over again. Close your eyes. Remember the deep breathing I have talked about before, the mindful breathing. And then you can apply that to other people as well. Your family member that is struggling, the stranger out on the road, someone you have no other feeling about, you're kind of indifferent about, even about them. You just then apply it to them and talk about them. So then it goes something like, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be saved from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at ease and happy. And so you can go and not only apply it to yourself, but then also apply it outwards in order to spread the loving kindness and being safe and at ease with yourself. So let's recap. Self-compassion is something we often leave behind for our own ambitions because we listen too much to our own inner critic. But it's something we need to bring back to ourselves, and it has nothing to do with overpraising yourself. It's just, acknowledging your strengths and your learning opportunities and the good in yourself, in order to change that mind talk that oftentimes can get you caught in a loop and drag you down. And one of those tools to do that is the loving kindness meditation, where you just bring loving kindness to you, water away the dangers that you might perceive and that might be very present to you, and then try to regain balance within yourself and loving yourself. I hope you found this helpful tonight. Again, this is Suzanne with Warrior of Light Coaching. I hope you have a good evening.